Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, congratulations, barakallahu lakuma, you are married now. But you see, the nerves on the first night can be really, really stressful. It's really, very difficult, right? It really will push you down if you're not careful. Okay, I got married now. Oh my God, I'm gonna be intimate. This is my first night. I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. You just overthink it, and then you flop. Okay, it becomes a bad experience. Well, look, the truth is you're gonna have the butterflies, you're gonna feel nervous because it's just one of the most special nights of your life, whether you're a brother or a sister. However, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna let you in. I don't want to call them secrets, but let's say opportunities. A lot of opportunities that a lot of Muslims do not get today. Why? Well, I have a lot to say about that. And if you know my videos, I've talked about this before, but we're in a situation where a lot of people don't want to talk about real problems and real solution. Even though you'll find the Prophet having talked extensively about this, and you'll find many of the past ulama, you're talking about hundreds of years ago, having gone into it. With adab, correct, of course, etiquettes and correct understanding. What is that? Well, that is intimacy. So I'm going to give you, inshallah, an opportunity that many Muslims do not get today. And I'm going to be able to help you to learn, inshallah, the strategies of what to do so that you have the most amazing first night ever. Now, this first night is going to be basically the foundation for the rest of your life when it comes to intimacy. You mess up this night. And I'm not talking about like maybe not having intimacy, because that can happen. And I talk about this in The Art of the First Night. The Art of the First Night is the course of intimacy for both brothers and sisters that help them to understand questions such as, should I consummate? Is it the right thing for me? Is it the right time? How do I know that? Should I just avoid it? These are very important, nerve-wracking questions that a lot of brothers and sisters have, and they feel so shy to go and ask someone. And sometimes when they ask a person, they might get the wrong answers, which leaves them to sometimes looking up on Google and haram things, and they get even worse answers. Because sometimes our community just doesn't want to address these issues. Even though, I repeat, the ulama of the past have addressed it. So, imagine, for the rest of your life, this will set the standard. For the rest of your life, this will be, the main night that you remember, especially, and look at me clearly, especially for sisters. It can become very, very traumatic. And for men, it can become very shameful if they flop and they fail. It could be that you're going to have, inshallah, with this foundation, with the Art of the First Night, knowing, having the knowledge, not making the mistakes. It could be that you're going to have a night of amazing intimacy, but also a life full of intimacy, great intimacy that connects you to your wife, lovemaking. Or it could be that you're going to be, roommates with zero intimacy, and sadly, that is the case for many, many couples. They come to me for counseling, and they come with a very small issue. However, after some questioning and some research, I find that the real problem is that these two are not connected. They have zero intimacy, and hence they're so frustrated with each other that they're basically now picking up on the smallest issue and making it huge. Don't be those people. Take the Art of the First Night, which will help you, inshallah. It will assure you that intimacy is going to be the best experience for you on that night, the best night that you've been waiting for so long. You've been investing so much in your wedding and your marriage and getting ready and paying the mahar and this and that and booking the halls and all that. This is what you've been waiting for. Make sure it becomes one of the best nights ever. But let's talk about some of the expectations. What are the outcomes of this course? Well, actually, this is the first time that I did a section for the sisters. So the course, there are two courses. One is for the brothers and one is for the sisters. And I called it The Art of the First Night, inshallah, because it is the first night for most people, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But I've also addressed issues of what if it's not the first night, for people who are married before, for divorcees, for widows, and other stuff. All those questions that might be in your head that you do not want to go and ask the local imam about, or you might feel extremely shy to ask your parents about. Definitely don't feel comfortable talking to your friends about it, and they might not even give you the right advice. And definitely advise you not to go to Google to search it on Quora or Reddit or something like that, because again, you're going to get a bunch of different opinions and ideas that are not Islamic, which could influence you and cause you to make the wrong mistake, the wrong move on that night, which could traumatize the marriage and compromise your marriage. And it's not easy to recover from that. So you'll get two courses, one for brothers, one for sisters, and you have a better understanding, not only of your own fitrah as a man or as a woman, but of the other person. For example, for the sisters, one of the questions that they've asked over and over again is not, hey, brother, teach us how to have intimacy. No, that's not what I do in the course. I try to be very polite, very academic, but I explain, for example, what do men kind of want? What do men think of, or how do men act? Obviously, men are the main player in this equation because they're the performers. How do women react? How should they dress? What should they do? Can they give a suggestion before the marriage? Is it appropriate to say something? What if you have some experience? Should you show that? Should you not? Should you pretend to be a bit shy? Should you just be yourself? What if you're nervous? Should you reject intimacy on that night because you are nervous and you're not ready? What if something is painful? What if you're on your period? What if something doesn't feel good? What if he's rushing? What if he smells? I've covered so many issues of tahara, cleanliness, purity, body grooming, dress, planning, location, actual nikah, and the walima and how much time to spend there, what to do. All these things have been covered in the courses. You walk out of this course with a better understanding of yourself or your future partner as well. You're gonna understand personalities, different way of thinking. You're gonna actually understand sexuality and how is it different between men and women. You're gonna understand the sunnah of marriage and the sunnah of consummation of marriage. You're gonna understand the dua. You're gonna understand the process that the Prophet would go through. You're gonna understand not only the carnal desire of intimacy, but you're gonna understand the bond and the connection that should be formed between a husband and wife. You're gonna understand ibadah and what were some of the things the scholars recommended to do before intimacy. And you're gonna understand what to do, for example, the morning after, and how to spend the rest of the days, and what is the sunnah of, for example, virginity and taking the virginity, talking about the bleeding, which sisters, ask about all the time, talking about past experiences and sins and how to approach those, talking about how to behave the next morning and, in that awkward moment, talking about having intimacy for the second time, talking about foreplay and what women like and what women don't like, what men like and what men don't like, talking about penetration, talking about contraceptives, talking about condoms, talking about possibility of pregnancy, talking about menses, all these things. What are all these things that you want and have to be considering when it comes to the first night, when you're going to consummate your marriage? All of these things are covered in the Art of the First Night, this amazing resource for brothers and sisters to help them to understand, to go into the marriage night with confidence, relaxation, that I understand what are my rights, what are my duties, what I can do, what I cannot do. And trust me, sisters, I prepared the brothers to not be some brutes and some savages, but to be, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, gentlemen, yet still, to perform and to, inshallah, do the correct things, to follow the sunnah, and to please you, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to lay the foundations for a great marriage that is based on mutual love and connection and desire. So take the intimacy, the Art of the First Night. Click the links in the video description. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.